She was one of the reasons Anakin went batshit crazy. But what is Padmé's life story? The Cancrisans presents Star Wars Lore Episode 90, The Life of Padmé Amidala. Padmé was born on Naboo with the second name Nabari. She was recognised at an early age as being incredibly gifted, and many said she'd have a bright future. Nabari quickly became fascinated with politics and looked up to her father's friend, Anakin Far, who was a senator. She even called him Uncle Ono. When she was 12, Padmé participated in the Legislative Youth Programme. During it, she met and fell in love with a boy around the same age of her named Palo. Unfortunately, the relationship didn't last long as he left politics to become an artist. At the tender age of 14, Nabari was elected as Queen of Naboo. Once in office, she adopted the second name Amidala. Amidala's career as queen never began easily, as the Trade Federation made a blockade around Naboo. Viceroy Newt Gunray, by order of Darth Sidious, had done this to force the young queen into signing a treaty in which the Trade Federation could legally invade the planet. When Amidala refused, and negotiations between the Jedi and the Trade Federation went sour, Naboo was invaded anyway. The Queen was held prisoner alongside her advisors and handmaidens. Fortunately, the Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi freed Amidala and company. They entered the Queen's royal starship and barely made their way past the Naboo blockade. The ship was too damaged to travel to Coruscant, so the group stopped off on Tatooine. On the desert planet, Padmé, disguised as one of her handmaidens and using her birth name, accompanied Jin, R2-D2, and he who shall not be named, no, not Voldemort, him, in the search for parts to fix the ship. Whilst trying to negotiate for spare parts with the junk dealer, Watto, the party met the young boy, Anakin Skywalker. The 9-year-old slave was immediately drawn to Padmé, who he said was beautiful and like an angel. She thought Skywalker was a bit odd, but also charming. They never had enough money to buy the parts they needed, but Anakin offered to partake in the Bunta Eve Classic pod race, so they could. Jin accepted the offer, but Padmé was sceptical. She believed it was unwise to place Naboo's fate on a 9-year-old. Against all odds, and after a poor start, Skywalker won the race. They now had enough to get their ship repaired, and Jin even managed to free the young slave. The Jedi realised Anakin was incredibly force-sensitive, but he could not also free the boy's mother. On the way to Coruscant, Padmé comforted Skywalker due to leaving Shmi behind. When they arrived on Coruscant, Amidala focused on her role as queen again, and prepared to face the Republic Senate. The Queen wanted to ask the Senate for help, but Palpatine, who represented her homeworld in the Senate, claimed the governing body was too corrupt to help Naboo. He told her to influence a vote of no confidence which would see Chancellor Finis Valorum voted out. Amidala initially rejected the idea, but slowly became more attracted to Palpatine's request. An election was set, and Padmé returned to Naboo to take matters into her own hands. To help retake Naboo, Amidala needed the help of the Gungans. Although initially entering Oto Gunga disguised as a handmaiden, Padmé revealed her true identity in order to seal the deal. The plan to retake her homeworld worked, and the Queen even showed great leadership and fighting ability in the process. But many Gungans perished, and Qui-Gon was killed. Soon after, Palpatine travelled to Naboo and announced to her that, with her help, he had been voted as Supreme Chancellor. The Queen later attended Jin's funeral, paying her respects to the great Jedi. Not long after, Naboo held a joyous parade in which the Queen handed the leader of the Gungans, Boss Nass, the Globe of Peace. Although Padmé's 2 terms as Queen concluded, the Naboo population was so happy with her rule that they wanted to edit the constitution to allow her another term. That never came to be, as she was replaced by Queen Jamelia. However, the new Queen suggested Amidala serve as Naboo's representative in the Senate, a position vacated due to Palpatine's promotion. She accepted the role. Amidala later became a member of Palpatine's Loyalist Committee after the rise of the CIS, led by Count Dooku. The Senate debated allowing the use of an army for the Republic, but Padmé was seen as the leader of the opposition to the Military Creation Act. The day before the Senate vote over the Act, Zam Wesell, by order of Jango Fett, blew up Amidala's ship. The attack killed many of her guards and her decoy. After this event, the Chancellor requested that Obi-Wan and his Padawan, Anakin, act as her bodyguards. Padmé rejected the idea, but was pleased to see the two again, especially Skywalker. That night, Wesell once more tried to assassinate the former Queen. By the use of a droid, Zam cut out the apartment's glass and released 2 deadly Kuhans. The plan nearly worked, but the 2 Jedi sensed the danger and Anakin killed the anthropods. The Jedi then went in pursuit of Wesell. Unsurprisingly, Padmé feared for her safety and so wanted to return to Naboo. For added protection, Skywalker accompanied her. Whilst together, they formed a closer relationship and slowly fell in love. However, because Anakin was committed to the Jedi Order and Amidala was committed to the Senate, the two agreed to stop the pursuit of romance. Later, she accompanied the Jedi to Tatooine after he had forced visions of his mother's suffering. Padmé helped comfort Anakin after the discovery of his mother's death. Kenobi had been captured whilst on the pursuit of bounty hunter Jango Fett. He asked his Padawan to relay his findings to the Jedi Council and the Senate. Although the Jedi planned on sending a rescue team to save Obi-Wan, Skywalker planned a rescuing of his own. He and Padmé travelled to Geonosis, but unfortunately, they were also captured. Later, the two joined Kenobi in the Petronaki Arena, where they had to fight for their survival. Before doing so, she and Skywalker felt there was no point denying their love anymore, and shared a kiss. Padmé done surprisingly well fending off the arena's dangerous beasts, but welcomed the arrival of Mace Windu and the Jedi Strike Team. When battle droids filled the arena, Amidala continued to fight well, but was grateful for Yoda's and the Republic's clone army's arrival. Once the Separatists were in retreat, she, Anakin and Obi-Wan pursued Count Dooku. After their gunship was struck by a cannon blast, Amidala fell to the sands below. Although Kenobi forced Anakin to not help her, she was attended to by a clone trooper. Padmé later caught up with the two Jedi, but couldn't stop Dooku from escaping. Not long after Skywalker's wounds from facing Dooku were treated to, they secretly married on Naboo. The Clone Wars had commenced, and it definitely kept Amidala busy. She was captured by Zero the Hutt, imprisoned by Onaconda Farr, and she helped defend her homeworld, just to name a few events. The Clone Wars made it difficult for Padmé and her husband to see each other. However, she did fall pregnant. After the Battle of Coruscant, she told Anakin. He was delighted by the news, even if it threatened to expose their marriage. See, if that was me, I'd be like, hold up, I've been fighting in constant battles. I've not had the chance to get you preggers. Who done it? Just come out and tell me who done it. You've been sleeping around. Anyway, Skywalker began seeing visions of his wife in pain, just like that of his mother. Whilst Yoda basically told him to man up, Palpatine told him that it was not impossible to save Padme from death. Amidala became very concerned about the war and the ever-increasing power of the Chancellor, which created a division in the married couple. Not long after, the Jedi discovered Palpatine was actually Darth Sidious and tried to kill him. But with his offer earlier, Anakin helped the Dark Lord of the Sith. Order 66 was greenlit soon after. Before Skywalker travelled to Mustafar to kill the Separatist leaders, he talked with his wife, telling her that the Jedi were traitors and he was only loyal to Palpatine. After attending a Senate meeting where the Chancellor declared the Galactic Republic was now the Galactic Empire and that he was now Emperor, Obi-Wan visited Amidala. He told her that Anakin had turned to the dark side and that he needed her help in order to stop him. Amidala refused, but the Jedi snuck his way on her ship anyway. When she arrived on Mustafar, the couple were glad to see each other, but slowly, Padme grew more distant as she saw Anakin was becoming everything Obi-Wan had said. At that point, Kenobi emerged, which angered the Sith. He force-choked his betraying wife and left her unconscious. He and his former master, Len, had a lightsaber duel. After defeating Darth Vader, Obi-Wan retrieved the pregnant Amidala and took her to a medical facility on Polis Massa. There, she gave birth to twins, naming the boy Luke and the girl Leia. However, she soon died of a broken heart. Seems legit. Soon after, she was given a funeral on her home planet. Although she had passed away, her children had managed to defeat the Galactic Empire, and Leia even remembered her. She said her mother was very beautiful, kind, but sad. Her adopted father, Bail Organa, wasn't sure if she actually remembered Padme or if she was imagining so to fill a hole in her life. Now it's time for this week's question. Who do you prefer, Padmé Amidala or Leia Organa? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to learn more about Padme, such as her personality, click the link on screen or the one in the description. Remember to vote for next week's episode by linking one of the free comments below, and for more Star Wars lore, keep it locked here to the King's Hands! There is an air of mystery about this character, which just makes Phasma seem even more badass.